We played earlier a clip of Jonathan Turley, probably the one of the last guys to abandon the Donald Trump legal SS legal ship, as it were. But here is Bill Barr, who's probably been waiting for this day for a long time, because this is a guy who came in saying, writing basically a brief on spec as to why Donald Trump was above reproach legally to get his attorney general job. But then Trump turned on him at one point, and Bill Barr got embarrassed and probably has been, flailing around because he gets a little bit side-eyed at some of his, Republican, the more establishment events. But here he is coming out basically saying on Fox News Sunday, well, he's more or less saying that Donald Trump is in a little trouble here.
What about this chief argument that comes up for the president's allies and his legal team that this should have been handled under the Presidential Records Act, not this Espionage Act charge and other federal statutes that were used here?
Well, it started out under the Presidential Records Act and the archives trying to retrieve documents that Trump had no right to have. But it quickly became clear that what the government was really worried about were these classified and very sensitive documents. I was shocked by the degree of sensitivity of these documents and how many there were, frankly. And so the government's agenda was to get those, protect those documents and get them out. And I think it was perfectly appropriate to do that. It was the right thing to do. And I think the counts under the Espionage Act that he willfully retained those documents are solid counts. Now, I do think we have to wait and see what the defense says and what proves to be true. But I do think that even half what Andy McCarthy said, which is if even half of it is true, then he's toast. I mean, it's a very detailed indictment, and it's very, very damning. And this idea of presenting Trump as a victim here, a victim of a witch hunt, is ridiculous. Yes, he's been a victim in the past. Yes, his adversaries have obsessively pursued him with phony claims, and I've been at his side defending against them when he is a victim. But this is much different. He's not a victim here. He was totally wrong that he had the right to have those documents. Those documents are among the most sensitive secrets that the country has. They have to be in the custody of the archivist. He had no right to maintain them and retain them. And he kept them in a way at Mar-a-Lago that anyone who really cares about national security, their stomach would churn at it.
What do you think the chances are that over the course of his run up to his election and all the things that he did in the presidency, that was all a witch hunt?
Yeah,
everything else,
but this one thing, like a
confirmation he's a witch. You've been witch hunting this guy unfairly for a long time, but hey, look at he's flying on a broomstick now.
Exactly. And just a coincidence that after Bill Barr is no longer, sort of on Team Trump.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, now this is true.
No, this is the brave American patriot that resigned in protest of his boss right after he lost the election, right?
Was it right after, or was it closer to like late December?
It was a month.
I think he was so it was really more like 2 weeks before the, and really, I think he resigned because he was looking around going, there's a lot of people in this White House who seem to think that, they can just change the election result.
Yeah, when he had to kind of work with Sidney Powell on mining the Venezuelan servers for whatever, I think maybe that was when he realized that he had to jump ship.
Bill Barr was thinking, like, why is Eastman in the vice president's office so often and for so long? And also, now that I got Durham squashing the investigation that of all the stuff that was going on with Rudy Giuliani and Italy, and I think maybe the time for me to get going is it's time for me to start the Bill Barr Reformation Project. And here's the culmination of it.
I mean, and people are aiding and abetting this. Like, there are a lot of people getting rich off of turning on Trump at opportune moments, and media figures just completely eating it up. I know this is Fox News.
Can we just anticipate one defense of Trump, which I've seen on like the sort of LaRouche MAGA communist side, which is like, oh, he's He's exposing this Iran attack plan, and it's like, actually, no, the investigation into Trump exposed that attack plan. Trump took those documents and put them in his bathroom.
They're trying to think he's a whistleblower?
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, I exposed them to Mark Meadows' ghostwriters.
Yes.
Imagine if Edward Snowden just had a bunch of boxes in his bathroom.
Right.
That's not the same thing. You need to actually publicize those things if you're going to get credit for being a whistleblower.
100%.
I was waiting for the right moment for when I was going to have peak interest in my candidacy.
The Guardian
to
wouldn't
bring it
respond
out.
to my emails.
I mean, of course there are. I would be surprised if we did not have contingency plans to attack Canada. I mean,
some of the stuff he took had nuclear information in it. About.
what if I was looking
Yeah, it's interesting.
to make my own nuclear reactor?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's-
In his
that's
defense, those are definitely
civilian
the
uses.
priciest documents. Like if he were to sell, the resale value of the nuke documents is probably the highest of them
new
all.
power
He's just a
source for
businessman.
my
I actually am not convinced, frankly, that he was going to sell these things.
Me neither.
I think that, like, if he's going to sell them, why not just photocopy them and give them
Yeah,
back?
take cell phone video.
and I think it honestly was like, I've been a great leader. I need these documents to prove some of the lies about me, like that I was going to attack Iran. Not true. It was
Right.
Millie.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, God knows, it doesn't matter. Like in the final analysis, it doesn't matter what his intent to do with these documents were, because he clearly was like, it's problematic to keep them in a bathroom. Now, I don't know, maybe the bathroom was locked. But it doesn't seem like there was a particular sort of like security around that. Wasn't there like two Chinese, like they found like two Chinese like spies trying to break into Mar-a-Lago at one point or something? I vaguely remember those stories. But in the final analysis, I agree with you. I don't think he was going to sell them, but who knows?
But I think it's
Vague kleptocrat seeing something valuable, and like, who knows what he's going to do with it later.
exactly. It's a point of leverage. It's like, he wanted like a tangible source of power, right? It's like a presidential Horcrux or something like that.
It's like if I took the hard drive
Did
back
we
up of all the
accidentally
shows.
take the Constitution too? I thought that was a parting gift. I thought it was a gift bag when you left the White House. But I look, it seems to be hard when you have like Bill Barr, Jonathan Turley. Like, I don't know who is really the Dersh is the last guy that we need to hear from in terms of like all of Trump's legal sort of support. And he's having problems finding lawyers.
Yeah.
And I'll add that there is not a huge number of lawyers, particularly I would imagine in Florida, but even in DC, not a huge number of lawyers who deal with these type of very specific legal questions, right? Like you can't build a practice on this alone. There's a couple of people who deal with this, but not that many. And he needs a local one in Florida because of the jurisdiction, I guess. And it's he's having trouble finding one.
I hope he represents himself in court.
That would be awesome. That really would be awesome.